Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We're excited today to break ground on the latest investment in O'Hare International Airport, the Terminal 3 Improvements Project. And what a great timing, because today is April 22nd, meaning we can also celebrate Earth Day by highlighting the sustainable practices that we follow in all of our capital projects at Chicago's airports. My name is Jamie Rhee, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the Commissioner for the Chicago Department of Aviation, or the CDA. And on behalf of Mayor Johnson and the entire aviation community, welcome to O'Hare Airport. As you all know, the City of Chicago has made tremendous investments at O'Hare in recent years, which have been critical in maintaining our status as the nation's most connected airport. It is incredibly exciting to see our vision for the airport continue to unfold as we complete these infrastructure improvements and enhancements to meet the growing demand at O'Hare, which include wrapping up the reconfiguration of the airfield through the O'Hare Modernization Program, completing the awe-inspiring Terminal 5 expansion and modernization, opening the beautifully designed and functional multimodal facility and the renovated airport transit system, and other projects underground, such as the pedestrian tunnel renovation, utility and roadway improvements right beneath us across Terminals 1, 2, and 3. There's so much more to say, but let's focus on why we're here today, and that's to join our mayor, our fantastic U.S. senators, members of the Illinois Congressional delegation, our regulators and airline partners to celebrate the start of another vital investment into our airport and yet into our city. The $300 million Elevate T3 project will address aging infrastructure in this building and allow for future growth. Upgraded customer amenities, security screening improvements, and expansion of accessibility features for travelers with disabilities will significantly enhance the passenger experience and improve operations. I have had the incredible opportunity to work with several visionary leaders, starting with our Mayor, Brandon Johnson, our Chairman, Matt O'Shea, and Vice Chair Curtis, and members of the Aviation Committee, and the entire City Council, our amazing U.S. Senators, Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth, and Congressman Chuy Garcia and Congressman Davis, as well as many others. We would not be here today without your creativity, your ingenuity, and support for the much-needed investments in our transportation network. Let's give them a round of applause. We are also forever grateful to the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Federal Aviation Administration for recognizing the national and international importance of O'Hare and the responsibility of upgrading these facilities. But what's more important than the building itself are the individuals behind the building process. Our airports have long served as vital engines of economic growth for both Chicago and the surrounding region. It's essential that projects like these are leveraged to expand capacity, create jobs, and promote the development of our diverse businesses of all sizes and types. The momentum has been growing. To date, we have paid out 38% of all funds to certified minority and women-owned firms on our O'Hare 21 program. Capacity building brings a sense of ownership to the community, and we are building structures that will welcome people to our great city for years to come. Why not have them designed and built and maintained by the people of our great city? We are also focused on going above and beyond the minimum accessibility requirements to provide all travelers equal access to services and amenities in our terminals. These priorities for the CDA and our diverse team of contractors and our employees that share our passion for incorporating sustainability and accessibility in all aspects of planning and design. And not just on Earth Day, but every day, we take pride in being a leader in sustainable initiatives at our airport. This department developed the Sustainable Airport Manual more than 20 years ago, which is the nation's first sustainability manual and rating systems for airports. Now it is one of our most important jobs as we embark on a project like this is to make sure that in our airport, O'Hare, is an airport first and not a construction site where we happen to park some planes. We continue to work with our partners to phase work appropriately while minimizing disruptions to their airline and passenger operations. Our construction manager at risk, Clark Neal T3 Partners, is charged with ensuring that that's the case here in Terminal 3. Overseeing this work is my phenomenal team at the CDA, led by our Chief Development Officer, Rob Hoxie. Their expertise and enthusiasm is an inspiration to me every day. I'm also grateful for our amazing airport staff who work continuously throughout construction and disruptions to ensure all passengers get to their destinations safely. Our community of 50,000 badged employees are under immense pressure every day to meet the minute-by-minute deadlines required by this industry. They are the reason our airports provide the best-in-class service. We take enormous pride in safely connecting Chicago to the world, and we do so in close collaboration with our airline partners, local, state, and federal agencies, contractors, the men and women of organized labor, faith-based leaders, elected officials, and assist agencies representing thousands of businesses in Chicago, and the numerous city departments that we work with each and every day. All of that work is made possible thanks to the support of our speakers today, so let's get the rest of the program started. Please join me in giving a very, very warm welcome, an O'Hare welcome to my boss, our mayor, Brandon Johnson. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, everyone. It's really good to be with you all this morning and to welcome you to O'Hare. I do want to thank my fellow city leaders that are here. Not quite a quorum, but we have Alders, O'Shea, Nugent, Hopkins, and Lee. Can you give them a nice round of applause? Our Deputy Mayor of Infrastructure, Lori Lipson, and our Chief Operations Officer, John Robertson. Can you also give them a nice round of applause? I'm also grateful that our federal partners, USDOT, and of course the FAA, all the labor leaders that have made this project possible. Thank you for your commitment to Chicago and to the improvement of our overall infrastructure. I especially do want to thank our two senators, Senator Durbin and Senator Duckworth, because of their commitment to Chicago's airports and their creativity in securing funding, not only for Terminal 3, but for all the progress that we have made in our airports. Thank you both for your leadership. I was going to say 3 decades, but I didn't want to embarrass Senator Durbin. I love you, sir. But I'm also grateful that we have two very strong political giants that are with us today. They birthed the political movement a generation ago that made my candidacy and my leadership possible. Congresspersons, my neighbor, first of all, Congressman Davis and Congressman Chuy Garcia. Can you give them a nice warm round of applause? Thank you to the American Airlines, who is represented here today by Ben Humphrey, Vice President of O'Hare Operations. Terminal 3 has been American Airlines' longtime home here at O'Hare and in Chicago. And we know this project could not be undertaken without their tremendous support. And thank you to the entire American Airlines team for your continued partnership and your unwavering commitment to the greatest city in the world, the city of Chicago. This $300 million investment is made possible by 2 separate grants received from President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law, totaling $90 million in federal support. I'm grateful to everyone who advocated for O'Hare to receive the largest competitive grant of any airport in the U.S. for the last 2 years in a row. You know, this incredible federal support makes sense because Chicago and O'Hare are an integral part to the global transportation network, because we connect the world to Chicago and Chicago to the rest of the world. The improvements to Terminal 3 that we celebrate today are essential to meet the continued demand for an enhanced travel experience for residents as well as our visitors. This project will do just that. But it's more than just an expansion. It's more than just enhanced space. It's greater accessibility for passengers with disabilities. And some of the projects that are highlighted today, thank you for all of you who recognize accessibility is also a human right. It's a fight for justice, because more space and better screening experience for TSA checkpoints is one of the contributions. A double-wide corridor for better passenger flow between Concourse K and Concourse L, approximately 10,000 square feet for new concessions and energy-efficient amenities, a better baggage handling system, and so much more. Because today is Earth Day, I want to note that CDA is committed to developing and implementing sustainable practices throughout all of our capital projects, and we've been doing that for more than 20 years. A modernized and well-functioning O'Hare Airport supports our status as a global city like nowhere else. About 74 million passengers traveled through O'Hare in 2023, and many of them are en route to over 247 different destinations. We will continue to invest in our terminals, our airfield, and our increased access to O'Hare to ensure that the millions of residents and visitors have a great experience traveling to and through Chicago. And through it all, we will keep all of this in mind, that we need to make sure that we meet the needs of all of our travelers. The overall efficiency and inclusivity of the entire aviation system relies upon increased accessibility for passengers with disabilities, which is taken into account in Terminal 3. In our airports and throughout the entire city, I'm committed to inclusivity and accessibility. While today's investment allows CDA to rehabilitate and expand the 60-year-old terminal, it would do much more because it is a benefit for the entire city of Chicago. This investment is an investment in our people, and as long as I'm mayor of the city of Chicago, we will always put the people of Chicago first. You know, airport projects like Elevate T3 create and support thousands of jobs, including hundreds of potential apprenticeships for Chicago's young people, and dozens of contracting opportunities for local businesses of all sizes and types. Why we invest in young people, that is the only way we can truly build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. Why we invest in all types and sizes of business leaders, because that secures a better, stronger, safer Chicago. When women and people of color succeed, the entire city of Chicago benefits. It's important that we promote equitable and inclusive opportunities to work at Midway and O'Hare. These are the type of stable and meaningful careers that our people desperately deserve and need. We are committed to ensuring that the workers here continue to reflect the 77 communities that make up Chicago. Again, finally, to the CDA and to the city of Chicago, we are expanding our partnerships with educational institutions throughout Chicago's region, including our Chicago Public Schools, the city colleges of Chicago, in order to connect people with real career opportunities at our airports. As we continue to improve Midway and O'Hare, we will make sure that all Chicago residents can benefit from these projects. Again, these projects are for the benefit of all of Chicago, not just a selective few. I'm grateful that the CDA leads the charge to engage residents, to promote small, diverse local businesses, and to bring economic benefit to our city through the continuous modernization of our award-winning airports. I look forward to seeing these projects completed. I look forward to the promise and potential that this project and these projects mean to the greatest city in the world. And thank you all again for your advocacy, thank you for your continuous work, and thank you for your commitment to Chicago. God bless you all, and God bless the greatest city in the world, Chicago.
Thank you so much, Mayor Johnson. And now it is my honor to bring up Senator Dick Durbin. Senator.
Welcome to the Orchard, ORD, O'Hare, my home away from home, my home on the way to home. I just want to tell you, if you saw the movie, George Clooney misrepresented what happens when you get 1,000,000 miles. The pilot does not come and sit next to you. It's happened to me 2 or 3 times, and the worst thing about it is they keep changing my frequent flyer number. But it's great to be here, and it's great to be with my colleague, Senator Tammy Duckworth, as part of this effort that we're announcing today. My friends, personal friends and colleagues, Congressman Danny Davis and Congressman Chuy Garcia, and the entire congressional delegation. I want to thank the mayor for that excellent introduction to the reason why we're here. I want to acknowledge CDA Commissioner Jamie Rhee and FAA Associate Administrator Shanetta Griffin. And why are we here? Because we brought the money home. And that's why you sent us to Washington, didn't you? President Joe Biden created the largest infrastructure bill in the history of the United States. It's a little bit inconvenient driving the Kennedy or tollways and other places because of all the construction, but it's an investment in the future that had to be made, and it's being made. We applied for grants for terminals at O'Hare and came away, as the mayor said, with two of the biggest awards in history, $50 and $40 million, $90 million of the $200 million price tag. Not bad, huh?
That's right.
You're supposed to applaud. That takes care of about half the cost of the Terminal 3 project. And as the mayor went through the details, it's going to change the flying experience for so many thousands of people who use O'Hare. It's going to be the first impression of the city for many people, and for those, I wanted to have a good impression. I always use the example of LaGuardia. What a hellhole that was if you ever flew into it. Now look at it today. People are headed out to LaGuardia and they sit in the gathering area to watch their fountain, and they marvel at what can happen in the course of traveling when you have modernization and you have kind of efficiency and safety that comes with it. It's all part of the same effort. So I'm happy to be here today and be part of this announcement. But I do want to spend a minute, maybe 2 minutes, reflecting on history. It was not always the case that people were cheering what was happening at O'Hare. When I was first elected to the Senate, the fate and future of O'Hare was in court to decide whether or not they could go forward. There was a political division to the point where the other United States Senator, not Senator Duckworth, another United States Senator opposed the modernization of O'Hare. Villages were choosing sides in the battle, the political battle that went forward. It was a battle that was well worth fighting. And why? Because many of us realize that O'Hare is more than just an airport. It's a critical part of America's economy. It's essential to our state's economic future. It's absolutely essential to this region. How many businesses have I run into said they came here because of O'Hare? They wanted to have modern, safe travel available to them. Over and over again, whether you're a flyer or a business owner in the area, O'Hare is a big deal. O'Hare has always been worth fighting for. It was then, it is now, and I'll continue to, and lucky to have by my side a terrific Senate colleague and a great advocate for O'Hare, because she uses it a lot too. Please give a warm welcome to my colleague, Tammy Duckworth.
Thank you so much, Dick. Well, what a great day. Thank you, Dick, for those kind remarks. Congressman Garcia, Mayor Johnson, Danny, Congressman Davis, Commissioner Rhee, Associate Administrator Griffin. It's an honor to be here with all of you. It is really great to be here celebrating this incredible investment into O'Hare. You know, this airport is our gateway to the world, connecting Chicago nonstop to 158 cities across the U.S. and 62 cities around the world. It is one of the biggest selling points when I go overseas and I talk to Panasonic or Samsung or LG or Engstrom and say, hey, come build your factories in Illinois. We've got great workforce. We've got a great educational system. We are direct flight to many of the cities that you're from, and that is really important when I talk to these companies. So keeping O'Hare strong means keeping Chicago strong, but it takes investments and commitment from all levels of government to support it. And that's why I'm really pleased that Senator Durbin and I were able to work with the Illinois Congressional delegation through the bipartisan infrastructure law that Senator Durbin helped shepherd through as the Democratic whip in the Senate to help secure this $90 million in federal funding. I know this airport probably better than many of the homes I've lived in. I know that may sound sad, but it doesn't, because you see, I've been flying out of this airspace for a very long time, both as a pilot and then also as a passenger. And over a dozen years ago, when I represented the Congressional district that started at O'Hare's western boundary and went all the way out to Elgin, I started working on the piece of road called the Elgin-O'Hare Expressway that did not begin in Elgin and did not end in O'Hare. And then we started working on the runway expansion. And all of those villages that Dick talked about that started coming down on different sides, it was very, very traumatic. They were all in my own congressional district. But we powered through that. We found agreement. We worked together. We were able to get the O'Hare expansion, the runway expansion done. And I'm so proud that we were able to make that happen. Now it is time to expand these terminals. And I'm really pleased that it's one of the reasons why I chose to become chairwoman of the aviation subcommittee in the Senate 2 years ago, because I wanted to be able to help shepherd this process. And I'm very pleased that Secretary Buttigieg, by the way, he sends his regrets that he couldn't be here today. I talked with him. He tried to make it. He couldn't. But I'm on the phone with him a lot, and he is very proud of what we have done here at O'Hare, and he is very pleased to send the $90 million to us. And he said, listen, you guys earned it. You need it. You earned it. You are an engine, not just for Illinois, but for the nation. Get to work. Absolutely. So, if we're going to keep O'Hare status as one of the best airports in the country and in the world, we can't let up. The funding that we're celebrating today is proof that as one of the best airports in the country and the world, we can't let up. The funding that we're celebrating today is proof that there's a strong federal support available for improving our airports. Senator Durbin and I pushed for this, and we're going to continue to push for it. And I know that all of us here are committed to continuing to work together to move the terminal area plan forward. Expanding capacity at O'Hare has been a decade in the making across multiple mayoral administrations, and the end is finally in sight. I am committed to working together with all the parties to ensure that we can expand O'Hare's capacity and ensure its world-class status for decades to come. We need to see the full 25% expansion of the gate capacity that everyone agreed to in 2018, and if it takes more federal money to make that happen, our delegation is going to keep working to secure it. So thank you. I'll just go to the Pentagon and look in their couch cushions. They have extra. So thank you for coming here today, and I can't wait to continue celebrating these and so many more improvements for years to come. And now I'm going to hand it over to Senator Garcia. Chuy, you're next. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Duckworth, and delighted to join Mayor Johnson today, my colleagues from the Senate, and of course, my fellow West Sider, Danny Davis from the United States Congress. As we all know, Chicago is a national and international hub for transportation, and of course, keeping O'Hare one of the busiest airports in the country and a connector of people worldwide is of utmost importance. The COVID-19 pandemic at its height hit airports very hard. And as we return to pre-pandemic levels, airports are working hard to accommodate the rapidly growing demand and to mitigate severe congestion as well. And as airports across the country are expanding and modernizing, this project is a key first step in ensuring that O'Hare remains a globally competitive airport. I want to thank Senator Durbin, Senator Duckworth, Mayor Johnson, of course, Commissioner Rhee, and the Chicago Department of Aviation for their work to get this project, this exciting project, off the ground. I know it's in great hands and that you all will work steadfast to complete the improvements in Terminal 3. These renovations will improve accessibility of the terminal, provide modern amenities, expand concessions, and update aging infrastructure, especially in light of the new rule that was announced by Secretary Buttigieg 2 weeks ago to offer additional opportunities for women and minority contractors as well. They will help generate revenue, create jobs, and increase economic activity. Projects like these require both private and public funding in order to make it to the finish line, and I'm happy to be a part of these efforts. As a member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee in the House, my priority has been to bring updated infrastructure to a state of the best repair possible and to put infrastructure and transportation at the center of our federal agenda. I worked hard in Congress to negotiate, pass, and now implement the Bipartisan Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which helped fund the construction of this project and many others across Illinois. As a Chicagoan, I'm proud of the vital role O'Hare plays in the economic development of the region, the Midwest, and the entire country. I'm excited to be with all of you today to celebrate this milestone, and I look forward to working to bring resources for Chicago's economic vitality. Thank you.
And now it is my privilege to introduce Congressman Danny Davis.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, when I stepped out of the house this morning, my wife said, Danny, I know you got a lot of things to do today. So in everything that you do, I want you to stand up, speak up, and shut up. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, but not before I acknowledge the tremendous work and leadership of the Commissioner of Aviation for the City of Chicago, one of the best in the business. None better. Of course, I'm pleased to be here with the Honorable Mayor, who has been flying, well, not flying through Chicago, but zipping through Chicago, providing leadership, guidance, opportunity, hope, and direction for all of its people, which is a tremendous job in Chicago. Brandon, my neighbor, you're doing super well. Keep on doing what you're doing, and you will be flying. And you'll fly all over America. But we are so blessed in Illinois to have two of the greatest United States senators in the country. None better than Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth. We never have to worry about what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and what it's going to mean for all of us. I have to commend the Biden-Harris administration. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about my father when I went to college. I was broke, and I sent him a letter and said, Dear Dad, I'm broke, no money, no fun. He wrote back and said, that's sad, awfully bad, your dad. But when I think of not being broke, the Biden administration has provided funds. I serve on this committee called Ways and Means, which really means you have to figure out how you're going to pay for everything that you do, that nothing just falls out of the sky. You got to pay for it. The Biden administration has been creative in coming up with revenue generators, ways to bring $90 million today. Let me tell you, even in Chicago, that's not chump change. That's a good piece of money. As Senator Durbin has already indicated, the largest infrastructure bill ever in the history of the United States of America. Takes money to run a country. That's what the Biden administration has done. O'Hare Airport is the light of flying, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you all for being here, and it's going to be even better.
Thank you, Congressman Davis. And we certainly wouldn't be here today if it weren't for our next guest. We'd like to bring up now Associate Administrator for the FAA, Shanetta Griffin. Shanetta.
Thank you, Jamie, and good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So I am honored to be here on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, and my boss, FAA's Administrator Michael Whitaker, to celebrate this monumental project. Mayor Johnson, Senators Durbin and Duckworth, and the Congressman Davis, Congressman Garcia, Commissioner Ray, your city's aldermen, your board chair, members of the mayor's team and also CDA's team, American Airlines, and all those who have helped bring us here today. I'm happy to be in partnership with all of you. I must, though, acknowledge my team, the FAA team that works on the ground with CDA, with Commissioner Ray, to bring this project to light. So my regional office, my airport district office, and our regional administrative office. I want to give them a round of applause as well, too. I'm excited to celebrate with you today, as it is especially noteworthy that today is Earth Day. Sustainability has been a top priority for the Biden-Harris administration, and it is of great importance for us at the FAA. As noted by the mayor earlier, the Chicago Department of Aviation has been leading the way on sustainable initiatives for decades. Chicago was one of the first aviation departments in the country to develop a sustainability airport manual governing design and construction of its projects. This Terminal 3 project will be part of that legacy. Supported by the Biden-Harris bipartisan infrastructure law funding, the Terminal 3 improvements will include the latest technology, provide enhanced energy efficiencies, and reduced emissions. The improvements will have real impacts on the people who will travel in and out of Chicago and the greater Chicago communities. Terminal 3 was built in the 1960s and revamped in the 1980s. It's time for an upgrade. That's why I'm so glad DOT and FAA are able to boost this important project with $90 million in total grant funding from the FAA's Airport Terminal Program. Of that amount, $50 million is already under grant, and the $40 million that was recently announced as a part of the fiscal year 2024 ATP grant program is close to being under grant as well. These funds will rehabilitate, improve, and expand passenger access for the 20-year-old Terminal 3, making its corridors wider, waiting areas bigger, baggage systems better, and TSA screening more efficient, and provide traveling customers a greater sense of place of the Chicago culture. This $90 million Airport Terminal Program award will also build upon millions of additional dollars in federal funding that O'Hara received from the Biden-Harris administration and the bipartisan infrastructure law. For example, fiscal year 22 and 24, this airport received more than $215 million in the airport infrastructure grants for a variety of improvements to this great facility. Broadly, this year's airport terminal program is an investment of nearly $1 billion to improve 114 airport terminals nationwide, spanning 44 states and 3 territories in this year alone. In the great state of Illinois, this year's program is also supporting the St. Louis Downtown Airport in Shakia, Illinois. The project will replace the aging and inefficient terminal and includes a new bus stop to provide access to the bi-state transit system and better meet the needs of airport users. At the Crawford County Airport near Robinson, Illinois, this project will include a new 6,300 square foot terminal to replace a temporary terminal that serves at the current terminal after the original terminal was destroyed by a tornado a year ago. These awards supplement nearly $2 billion for airport terminals announced over the past years. The variety of these projects are all under construction. All told, we're investing $5 billion over 5 years to modernize Americans' airports, again, thanks to the administration's bipartisan infrastructure law. So let me close with this. The American people have been thinking a lot about travels and its ways, and it needs to be improved. Our work not only invests in the physical infrastructure of our airports, but also in strengthening safety, improving efficiency, and the customer experience. Our work to improve the travel experience not only helps Americans get to and from their destinations with less stress and fewer costs, but it helps keep us safe and helps the economy thrive. We are indeed changing lives and making a difference in communities across this country. DOT and FAA are proud to play a part in improving one of the most connected and busiest airports in the world. So congratulations again to Mayor Johnson, to the commissioners, to the Aviation Chicago Department, to all of those that are here today, as we look for the development for the Chicago O'Hare Airport, Elevate T3, and we continue to have a great partnership on this project and many others in the future. Thank you for having me here today, and again, congratulations on Elevate T3.
Okay, that concludes our program for this morning. We just want to thank you for coming today. I believe we have some time for some questions. If there is, are there any questions?
We're going to open it up for questions for Congress folks first, and we're going to start with on-topic questions. So if you've got an on-topic question, please wave me down for a congressperson.
Hey, for Senator Durbin. So after news broke that the city proposed changing the order of the global and satellite development projects, you quickly shared a statement calling for the city to go with the original agreement and asked Secretary Buttigieg to convene a meeting. What do you think that the city's reported proposal gets wrong, and what are the stakes here?
I think we're in a better place now. I think there's been an effort to increase the conversation among the parties involved, the airlines as well as the airport. My goal has always been to meet the 25% increased capacity goal. You know, we put billions of dollars into these runways to make them efficient and safe, and that was the right investment to start. Now we got to make sure that the terminals can respond to the traffic that's likely to come in the near future. And that's what I was aiming for with that statement that I made. I've talked to John Robertson, representing the mayor, and I talked to Matt O'Shea. I'm glad they're both here in the front row. And I will just tell you that I think we have a proposal that will reach our goal of 25% increased capacity over the period of time that we wished with the TAP agreement.
Any clarity on what's changed in that proposal in the last 2 weeks that makes you more comfortable with it?
Well, there's a rephasing of the construction. I'm not going to get into detail, but I will tell you it's been submitted to all the airlines so that they can take a look at it and see if they think that's the best way to go. But the conversation is going in the right direction. We have the same shared goal for O'Hare.
And
I just wanted to add to that. The proposal is not a rephasing. It is actually just how we're going to go about doing all the construction that needs to happen. With O'Hare expansion of the runways and everything, we're going to spend $18 billion total, as much as that. For us to not have a 25% increase in gates at the end of that $18 billion process would be fiscal malpractice. And so the end goal is always to get to the point where we have that 25% increase. We can't go through all of this and only have 3 additional gates. We have to get that 25% because we want O'Hare to stay at the top of the heap when it comes to the most quality airports around the world, not just in this country, but around the world. And so the proposal that's going forward, we can't get into it too deeply because the negotiations are continuing, but you should know at the end of the day, as Dick said, it's going to get us to that 25%. And then how we go about it is some very basic things like let's dig once. You know, if you're going to work on Terminal 3, then let's make sure that we only dig up the runway once to run the power lines and run the sewer lines, so that we don't dig under the runway, then come back 2 years later and then dig under the runway again. So there's a lot of really common sense things that are happening in that proposal that gets us to that goal that we're trying to get to of 25%. I think the city did a really good job of rolling up its sleeves and coming up with a proposal that will continue to allow the airlines access to gates, but at the same time expand the additional gates that we need to be the airport of the future.
Senator Duckworth, don't go anywhere because my question is for you. How satisfied are you with the kinds of accessibility plans and work that will be going on here? Because I know you've been pushing for, are you getting everything you would like to see?
Well, at this airport I am. At other airports around the country, it's been something of frustration. I have a great relationship with Commissioner Rhee, and she's been very responsive. And a lot of the things that have been done in the Chicagoland area, especially here at O'Hare, is really setting the standards for around the country. So I'll give you an example. We have here a restroom that has adult-size tables where if you have a child or a companion with a disability who requires an adult-sized table in order to be bathed and cleaned, you can do that here. It's really easy to access it. It's easy to get around. I've not gone anywhere where I haven't been accommodated. And so I think that we're well on path. Are there things we can always do better? Yes. I think that the airlines need to do better when it comes to training the people who handle baggage and stop treating medical equipment as baggage and treat them as medical equipment. I think training for the folks who help people on and off the aircraft so that they help people who may need a little help getting into an aisle chair. Those folks are well trained and well compensated for the very hard work that they do. So there's a lot more that can be done, but certainly with the plans for T3, I'm in very close contact with Commissioner Rhee as we look at that, and that is part of everything that's planned, the disability access.
Senator, you mentioned the prospect of additional funding to complete the terminal area program. Can you elaborate on that, how much maybe you have in mind or where that might come into play?
Well, we have not, with the new proposal from the city, this expansion is now back on budget. And in fact, I won't say well, come out under budget, but it's back on budget, which is really important. And because of the way that we are going to start construction work on Terminal 3, it gets us on budget. But if there is a need, we'll do what we did 13 years ago when we were working on runway expansion. And back then it was Secretary LaHood who rolled up his sleeves and said, let's everybody sit down and work this out together and find the funding to do this. I've had the same commitment from Secretary Buttigieg, who has said that if there's additional funding that is needed, we're going to roll up our sleeves and figure out how we can get to that place. But right now, the project is on track. It's back on budget, which is really great news, and I want to thank the city for coming up with that. And so we're going to be able to get this world-class, first-class airport back on track.
Senators, I wanted to ask about a related airport project in
Hi, Marty.
Hi, Senator.
She's been with me since we fought for Western Access and we talked the runway expansion.
Thank you. My question is about Western Access. In a few years, Interstate 490 is going to, connect to the airport, but the only thing that apparently will be there there won't be anything for the public. There would just be a parking lot for employees. And are you satisfied with that?
No, I'm not satisfied with that, but I am satisfied with the work that the city is doing with me to get us to a place where we can actually have access. There's only one way in and out of O'Hare, and that is a real bottleneck. And with the amount of traffic that's coming through, we need another access point. We're going to get there. It took us literally a decade to negotiate with the railroad in order to just get access to one portion of the fence line. So we're at a place now where I think with the expansion, let's get Terminal 3 built, let's get the employee access. We just solved that, we just cracked that nut. We're going to come back, I'm not going to let this go. We're going to get that Western access because that is going to help everybody have access to the airport. And I'm still working on Elgin O'Hare Expressway.
Hi, Miranda Davis, Bloomberg News. The last we heard is that the airlines were still reviewing this proposal. Is there any status updates on where things are with the airlines?
I think they have until early May to review it, so we'll just let them review it. We're certainly available, the members of the delegation. I won't speak for the city, but we certainly are available to chat with the airlines, and I certainly do talk with their representatives on a regular basis. But I believe they have until early May to respond.
Any other questions for Congress people?
Hi, can you elaborate at all on the timeline involved in the new proposal?
I'm going to turn that over to the commissioner because she'll know the timeline exactly better, but I don't know that we can speak too much to it because it is in front of the airlines right now, and we have until early May. Do you have anything? Yeah, that's all we can talk about right now. Thank you.
Hi, Senators. For either of you, several members of Illinois' delegation, including Representative Garcia, voted against aid to Israel this weekend. Are you at all concerned that Israel will become a growing source of division within the Democratic Party to the point where it could cost Biden re-election?
Well, I just say one thing. Israel is our only true ally in the Middle East. They have been attacked. They are defending their own nation. Now, that said, Israel has every right to defend herself, but at the same time, we need to make sure there's humanitarian support that goes into Gaza. We need a negotiated, bilateral peace agreement, a ceasefire, and a two-state solution. That is what we need to work towards. And that's why in the aid packet that goes out, there is also, in addition to money for Ukraine, thank God, and money for Israel, there will be also money for humanitarian aid. And I think we can unite on that babies should not be getting killed, but at the same time, babies should not be getting ripped out of their homes on early morning hours and burned to death either. So this is a really complicated situation. We can get to a solution, but we're all going to have to work together on it. And I call on our Middle Eastern countries, our friends in Middle East like Saudi Arabia, to step up and do more. Thank you.
We're going to do on-topic questions for the mayors. We're going to start with Jake.
Hey, Mayor. There's been a lot of talk about this project going down in cost and being under budget again or within budget again. Can you tell me more about what's changed and why the city is confident that this can stay
We're
within budget?
collaborating and we're talking to all parties. We have great federal partners. The airlines have been very courageous, having real substantive conversations around how do we make sure that our shared values are met. This is a global epicenter for continuity for the entire globe, and everyone who is involved in this understands that.
Topic question, if you could flag me down, unless we're doing off topic now.
Hey, Mayor.
Hey.
I know that, as you certainly know, ShotSpotter played a role in the response to the police officer who was killed over the weekend. I know you've been asked this several times, but why not give the Chicago Police Department the tools they need to do their job, which they believe is ShotSpotter?
Are you referring to the officer that was murdered?
Correct.
Yeah. So let me just first of all, again, acknowledge our condolences for the officer's family. Had a chance to spend time with his mother and his uncle. The type of heinous violence that continues to cause tremendous grief and turmoil has been a hardship over the course of decades now. And we're working hard every single day to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. Homicides and shootings are down. A lot of work to be done. Our police department has the tools that it needs to help us build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. And as I've said repeatedly, it can't be policing alone. That's a failed strategy. That is what previous administrations have relied upon. We continue to rely too much on policing to address community safety as a whole. My approach is comprehensive. I will continue to have a comprehensive approach. A generation ago, President Johnson said we have to get at the root causes of crime. He was mocked a generation ago. And as a result, we have not had the type of transformation that the generation prior wanted to see. Well, my administration is fully embracing our work to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. We have to get at the root causes of violence. And again, the results are beginning to speak for themselves. Homicides are down, shootings are down, investments are up. That's what I'm going to continue to do to secure a better, stronger, safer Chicago.
Mayor, hello. Can you please tell us, where were you yesterday morning? Why were you not with the superintendent when he announced the murder of Officer Weska?
I thought it was important that I spend time with the family, because that's what my responsibility is. So I had the opportunity to speak with the family, and that's something that I think all of us have to do. Center our work around the people who are most impacted. And so I did just that out of respect to the family.
But were you there with the superintendent? Officers are asking, your presence is noted, and your absence was also noted when the superintendent...
So which one is being noted? My presence? Okay, all right, so my presence was noted. Talk to the family. That's where I spent my time. And of course, I did spend time with the officers who are all impacted by this. You notice, to see one of our fallen officers' body lay as the family was preparing to go into the morgue, it's one of the most difficult things that I've ever done. I show up every single day for the people of Chicago. And I know the people know that. And I know the family knows that. I spend time with the family, because that's what a mayor does.
Mayor, the FOP's John Catanzara says the fact that an officer was killed shows that no one is safe from these carjackers. Is that the lesson Chicagoans should take away from this?
As hard as it has been over the course of decades in this city, someone who is raising a family on the west side of Chicago, the congressman is a neighbor of mine. We love Austin. Crime is not brand new in Chicago. It's not. When I was in high school, there were 800, 900, and 1,000 people being murdered in this city, primarily black people. No one thinks about this issue more than me. The vast majority of individuals who are losing their lives for violence look like my sons. They look like my sons. I'm doing everything in my power to collaborate with the federal, the state, the county, philanthropic community, the business community, to make critical investments so that this does not become the constant narrative. We are better than the examples that we have seen. But this is still the greatest city in the world. We are not for the sanctity of those who call Chicago home. And no one knows that better than someone who lives in one of the most disinvested neighborhoods in the entire city of Chicago. And that's why I'm grateful that we have strong partners who help support that bonds deal. The work that we're doing to increase our support for homelessness. The work that we're doing to make sure that downtown development happens as well. To make sure that this city will always hold on to its values.
And then we'll make our way over to Shovels.
Hi, Mayor. I got a question from the newsroom at Block Club Chicago. So last week you referenced an investigation into CTA bus driver and Tia Lyon's death that will continue to unfold after Block Club's report. Is this an internal CTA investigation, or is this another agency investigating the circumstances surrounding her death?
Well, look, it's all encompassing, right? When something like that happens, it's very tragic when a public servant loses their life at work. And I know that from a very personal standpoint. I hope you hear me. I had an aunt who lost her life as a CTA worker. I know that grief. I know what it's like to put your arms around your cousins because their mother, my aunt, is not here, working and serving this city. So yes, there has to be a full investigation. And of course, our condolences are still with the families who were deeply impacted by this loss.
Can the public trust the integrity of CTA's internal investigation when the agency previously said the CTA stands by its handling of the death?
There's a process, of course, that will continue to unfold. And government has a responsibility to make sure that that process is open and transparent. Thank you all very much.